Well, top of the morning. My name is Stephen and I am speaking from my favourite room in the house, the kitchen. And it's a privilege to be with you all today at Hevey and to anyone who is listening in for the first time. I want to take a moment to share a little bit about my life and how the love of God reached me. And I'm actually married to Aisling, my beautiful wife, and I've got 4 beautiful children. Aaron, Lauren, Caleb and Ruth Ann. But life wasn't always like it is today. I was born one of 10 children in a block of flats in Dublin. And I have great memories growing up there as a child, and my mother and father were fantastic parents. But stuff that happened to me along the way as a young man led me by the time I was 13 to want to take my own life. And I became very, very suicidal. I used to rob tablets from my grand's kitchen, my mum's kitchen. And I was just so depressed that I just felt there was no other way but to end life at such a young age. And I can remember my mum bringing me to a mental hospital to be assessed, and I had to go there to try to get help. And this led me to just turn on the very people that I loved, because I felt I was being rejected. I needed somebody to blame for what was going on around me, and I couldn't put words to what was going on. And the easiest people to blame really were those that I loved the most. And I turned on my parents and I turned on everyone else around me, until eventually it led me to living on the streets from the age of 15 onwards. Eventually I ended up turning to heroin addiction. And I can remember heroin, it promised me so much, and yet it gave me so little. It stripped me of everything, every ounce of dignity, if I had any left in me as it was. But heroin addiction brought so much shame, so much guilt into my life, because in order to feed this addiction, I had to hurt so many people. And eventually it led me to jail, and being in jail I realised it wasn't the life that I wanted, and I just wanted to take my own life in jail. Especially I was in need of so many medications by this time. And I ended up living in a park in Dublin. I used to sleep under this tree. They used to have a nickname for me called the Campfire Man. I used to light fires at night to keep myself warm. But every day I would leave there and hide away from the people that knew me, and I'd walk up to Euston train station a few miles away, and I would sit down outside this train station, or sometimes stand up, and I would beg all day, and I would earn a lot of money, and this money would just increase and feed this addictive lifestyle that I had. And I remember at the age of about 21 years of age, I was so low. I remember hiding in the bushes across my mum's house, looking through the bushes into the window of the house, wishing that I could just be there with my family, hoping that one day I could just be there. But I knew the way my life was, that this was never going to happen. And I wanted to end my life this particular night for good. And I remember walking down my mother's street, and this church I just walked into by chance. I didn't know it was a church that was full of life. I just thought it was any normal church. And the night I walked in, they were having what they call a prayer week in this particular church. What that means is, one night they were praying for the pastor and the elders, another night they would pray for the youth leaders and the workers. But the night I actually walked in, they were praying for Teen Challenge, which is a drug and alcohol outreach work that was going on. And I remember the prayer, they were saying, God, send in the broken, send in the prostitutes, send in the hurting. And as they were praying that prayer, I was actually walking through those doors. And I remember a lady called Eileen Coors, and she came up to me and she spoke to me about how much God, my Father, loved me. It just seemed quite insane. But I knew by looking in her eyes that this lady really believed this. Well, eventually I ended up going to Teen Challenge in Wales, from Dublin to Wales, which is a Christian organisation who helps people with addictions. And it was in Teen Challenge where I met Jesus Christ. God, the Father, reached me in my despair. He reached me as I was clothed in all of this guilt and shame. The Bible tells us these wonderful verses, that God so loved the world. I love this verse in John 3:16. God so loved. He wasn't angry with the world. He didn't hate the world. He loved the world, that he gave his son. He gave his son into the hands of the very people he created, and they crucified him. But the Bible says that when they crucified him, that he shed his blood, and his blood was shed for the sins of mankind. I'm here today because of the love of God. I never imagined, even now today as I sit here, I never imagined that I would be a married man. I never imagined that I'd have children around me at the dinner table. I never imagined that I'd ever have a job and live a normal life. I never imagined that I would know what life is like to live without guilt and shame. I never, ever imagined. But the funny thing is, God knew. And I'm here to tell you today that if you are struggling with an addiction in your life, if you are struggling with depression, if you are struggling even with suicide thoughts, I want to tell you that Jesus Christ is the answer to the broken heart. He is the answer to every need in our lives. Our Father loves us. He made us. And He's the only one that has the answer to a broken heart. And I'm sitting here this morning in the best room of this whole house. It's the kitchen. I love the kitchen. I can eat all day. But I want to speak to you wherever you may be and tell you that you are greatly loved today. I am greatly loved today. We are greatly loved today. Our Father loves us. And God bless you and have a great day. Bye.